Our today artist and novel member is Sawyer Rose. So welcome to our conversation.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. All right. So how long you been Noah's member
I
before
have been a
myself?
NOAA member for 3 or 4 years now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just start with you a little bit introduce yourself, what you do, how you became interested in art, when you start as an artist, and what type of art you're doing.
All right. Well, to throw it way back, I was always the kid who was making everything all the time. I think a lot of us probably have that in common. Um, I went to school for art history.
Hmm.
But luckily, the major required you to take a studio course, which I think is brilliant. You had to take Studio 101, and all the studio majors had to take Art History 101, as it should be, if you ask me. And I absolutely loved it. I was like, I can't believe that. I mean, I loved art history too. But I was like, I can't believe they give out degrees for this. This is so much fun. And so ever after that, I was taking at least one studio course per semester, and it just like really filled my bucket, if you will. It was the thing that kept me sane when,
Hmm.
through all the reading courses and the things that you do in college. So coming out of college, I was a painter, but I kept building things and
Hmm.
sticking them on the canvases.
Yeah.
I kind of couldn't help myself. I'd paint something and go, that would be so much better if I just stuck this sculpture on it.
Yeah.
And so then finally, I had a residency coming up and I didn't have anything that I was working on specifically. And I was like, what if I just take this time to try to be a sculptor and see what happens? And like, I never looked back. Like, making the objects was so much fun.
Yeah. Or
It,
as somebody said, put my hand around it. So perhaps
yeah.
that surge of putting your hand around an object, because painting, you cannot put your hand around it, but when it becomes 3D sculpture, you can put your hand around it.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is that I kept trying to put my hands around like fine art photography.
Yeah.
I would try to stick my hands in the thing, just make it do what I wanted. And
Yes.
sculpture was the way like that I could just put my hands around it.
Yeah. Wow, interesting. Very interesting. And I check your website. I mean, you've been in so many different interviews, magazine. You create a body of work which is quite interesting, at the same time quite mysterious. And like myself included, I was just thinking, what's the reason for that, and how she made it, or why she made it. Those are the things that quite interest me to see why you make and what you make and how you make all this
Okay.
work. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's see some of your work.
So the Carrying Stones project, which is at the Montgomery Museum of Fine Arts right now, a big, lovely four gallery solo show. If you're down that way, please go check it out.
Yes.
Um, So the Caring Stones Project, I've been doing it for about 8 years now, and it looks at women's work inequity through the lens of data. So I use actual women's labor statistics to talk about, especially the paid and unpaid work that women do.
Hmm.
It started because I had two small children, and I was trying to explain to my husband all of the unpaid work that I did all day, which, when they're little, it's like all day, every day is unpaid
Yes. Yeah.
work. And I didn't really feel like he was getting it until I hit him with a statistic that um, if women's unpaid labor were tracked in like the global GDP, it would be 25% of the labor done in this world. And he went kind of like light bulb, like, oh, wow, that like I
That's
get
a
that.
lot.
It's a lot. It's a crazy lot. And he kind of goes, oh, okay, I get it. And I was like, ooh, maybe we have something here. I'm a big research nerd, so I started digging into like, time use surveys that are like done by the government, and there's tons of data out there. But what I was really interested in was telling women's individual stories. So I started getting participants in the project to give me their work data. Like we track their data for a couple weeks, and then I build a sculpture out of it that's like a readable data visualization of the actual work they did.
Hmm.
And then, if you go to the next slide, you'll see that I once I do the sculpture of her work hours, I take it back to the woman who gave me the data and do a portrait of her with the actual representation of her work hours.
Hmm. How you do that? I mean, what this different diamond shape represent? Is this the working out?
Yeah, so this is Tracy's sculpture and Tracy's portrait. So this is a good one to talk about to
Mm.
like kind of figure out how the system works. So in this one, all of the solid concrete forms represent 1 hour of paid labor, and all of the wireframe forms, which are less visible, like unpaid labor in our society,
Hmm.
represent 1 hour of her unpaid labor.
Okay.
Wherever you see a space in the matrix is an hour that she was not working. So you see it's very few.
Yeah, here, this area you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you got
okay.
to think like not working is everything from like seeing your friends and, going to the spa, I hope. But it's
Mm.
also like taking a shower, going to the
Yeah.
dentist. Like all of that has to fit into those spaces.
Those more personal thing that they do.
Hmm.
Okay. Wow. So it's a lot,
It's a
as you've
lot.
mentioned.
It's a lot. And
And
so
how many participants were in this, you said?
so my first piece was a collaborative piece and it featured the work of 47 women. And
Okay.
then these individual pieces, I've done 12 or 13 now, maybe
Okay.
13. Yeah, so and the way I pick the women is they'll have an interesting work story in, their work story is interesting, but it also speaks to a larger issue in like feminist labor
Mm.
issues that I want to talk about. So like for instance, Tracy is a lawyer. So I wanted to talk about women in like high power professional roles.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So how you found all this? Are you sending ad somewhere or just asking around?
That's a great question. Everybody always wants to know that. So it's very important for me to have a very diverse cast of characters in this because, like I can only tell so many work. I would tell everybody's work story if I could. So I look for women who are of different, ages, races, socioeconomic classes, work functions, with kids, no kids.
Okay.
Tracy, I knew from way back in college, and I got in touch with her and said, like, your work story seems so interesting. What I see on social media. Do you want to do this? A lot of people are referred to me. People who know the project go, "Oh, I've got a story for you," and then if it fits with what I'm doing, I'll get in touch with that person. So it's like all
Okay.
different ways, but yeah, a lot of referrals.
And what this made of? Are those
So
concrete?
so
The
they're
diamond?
little wood panels.
Oh, those are wood. Okay.
They're wood panels, cast mortar. So like I built, molds and I cast the mortar and then, hand painted and whatever. And then brass tubes, soldered, like hand soldered together.
Okay. Wow, it's a lot of work too. I mean, just to create that. How long it
Yeah.
takes to study? Or you give them assignment, like, for example, the one you ask them to record, right? Their daily and just
Yes.
let you know.
So I built an app, a timekeeping app that only records exactly the data that I need them to give me. So we have an interview beforehand where I explain all about the different types of labor and what goes in what bucket. Because you've got uh, paid labor, that's pretty obvious. Unpaid labor, there's a lot more of it than you think. A lot more different kinds. And then you have mental labor and emotional labor, which, people have heard of, but maybe the definitions aren't clear. Mental labor is like the planning, the remembering, and emotional labor is like the work of keeping people happy. The kids come home from school, they had a bad day. That's, work you're doing. So we have that interview. She
Okay.
collects the data, and then we have a second interview where I go, okay, what'd you put in what bucket? And we talk more about her story. So that's how
Okay.
the process works.
Wow. So you're a psychologist.
Or
Wow.
maybe a sociologist, a little,
Oh, yeah.
little
I have so many things at once.
data analyst. Like I said, I'm a research nerd. It just is so interesting to me to like get all this information. And then as an artist, I'm trying to take all my like nerdy, dry data and
Yeah. And
translate it
then,
into something that can like actually like communicate to people.
yeah, it's a visual language. So, Yeah, to make it into. And how many, is it 1 week? Is it 1 month? This, like, for example.
It's 3 weeks to a month, and then I do a data analysis on it. So, it's like if you came down with a cold and you're not working, that's not like a typical day. So
Oh,
I
okay.
do a data analysis and like take out the outliers and try to like figure out what an average weekday looks like, what an average weekend looks like, or, depending on how the person works.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Um,
I say like some day are more pay work. Those are perhaps the day,
those are,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow, interesting. And it's crazy and also interesting.
Yeah, so this is a piece called Lauren. Lauren is a professor
Mhm.
at a lovely Midwest university. And so her paid work is, obviously teaching her classes, grading her papers, but it's also like, s- you know, um, she's chairman of the department that year. She's got to do all that. Unpaid labor is both like working with her kid and her family, but also service to the university. There's tons of that they have to do and they don't get paid. So this piece is about Lauren, but it's also about women in academia and the challenges they face.
Yeah,
Um,
this is, I understand. I'm college professor and my husband said, what you doing? I said, when I come home, my work just started
yeah,
because I have to grade, because I have to make my class ready. And these are unpaid,
unpaid.
but
Right.
non-stop. I mean, I swear to God, this semester, the way I organize my classes, I have zero time and all, grading, making notes, creating this.
And Lauren said that she has so much grading to do that when she like sits down to watch a movie and is like, I'm just gonna take a break, she's like, well, maybe I should grade things while I watch.
Yeah, they do. My computer, I have to talk to Lauren because we have some, in common, and many other professors the same thing. I sit on a couch. That's actually my relaxing, my computer, and start grading.
Yeah.
And watching TV and talking to my kids and talking to my husband and my daughter. I said, "Mommy, are you watching TV?" I said, "Yeah, I know how to multitask. This is my job." Multi.
This is what I do. Yeah, this piece came by request from like five different professors that I know. Like, you
Yeah,
have to do women in academia. You have to.
I
I've
know, I
had a
know.
few topics come by request, but this one is the number one most requested.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I understand this piece completely. That's me and so many other.
And so many other.
Yeah. So the which part is paid work? Which
All
part?
right, so this is a good one to talk about the little like Easter eggs and little like secret things that I put into the pieces. Okay, so first of all, the brown books, they look like books, and if you go to the next one, you can see like a
Oh, okay.
like a detail of it so you can kind of see what they look like. And I don't mind if you flip back to the other, it's fine. So the brown books,
Okay.
can you go
Yes.
backwards?
Oh, okay.
There we
Sure.
go. So the brown books, they're not really books, represent each 1 hour of paid labor, and the white books each represent 1 hour of unpaid labor. The spaces in the matrix, as before, represent an hour where she was not working. So, the fun thing in designing these books was trying to figure out what size to make them, what like color to make them. So, okay, so the brown ones look like academic, old school, leather bound. But what size? I went and looked up the publishing sizes for academic books. And so they're all sort of like a smattering of those different sizes. Whereas the white ones, the unpaid labor, at the time, Lauren had a 9-year-old. So these are the standard publishing sizes for children's books. So that was kind of a fun one. And it's like
Yeah.
nobody would know that unless I told them, but I do my best to put as much of the participant
Yeah.
into it and get me out of the way.
Yeah.
The chains, there's a lot of ties and tethers in my work. Um, because, I've heard a lot of women say it's like all this unpaid labor both ties me down and ties me to my family. Like it's a positive thing. It's like nobody's complaining they have to be with their children. Well, not everybody. Um, but there is like this dual element of being tethered. being tethered is a good thing, being tethered is a bad thing.
Ah,
So the tethers in this at the time, Lauren was reading the Harry Potter series to her daughter,
okay.
and the in the library, the books in the restricted section are all tied to the wall with chains. And I laughed that that was like this, her life is sometimes like the restricted section. So it's just like there's always ties and tethers, but this one had a special meaning.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm obsessed with Harry Potter. I myself, I God knows how many times I read it, and I just finished listen to it again. As soon as I finish a book, because I'm commuting, now
Yeah,
I'm listening to audio.
sure. Yeah.
What to do? Let's
What's it
listen
do? Let's listen to
Harry Potter
Harry again.
again. That's the only time I can listen or read book on my commute.
Yeah.
Other than that, I have to grade and think. I mean, this is astonishing. I love this work and
Thank
how
you.
it relate to almost everybody. And the thought you put, to create all this, the size of book. So, and how much work.
Yeah, I mean, they take like, 4 to 6 months to
Mhm.
make if I'm really on it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
So
so
majority of your sculpture of wood, right? Wood that you cut yourself and
so
polish.
it depends. It depends on the person. Like I said, I try to make it as much about the participant as possible. So, after their series of interviews, I will kind of have an idea like, are they like a wood person? Are they more like a concrete person?
Okay.
Stone? Are they, like a really like rigid geometric person? Or are they more like a flowy person? So,
So
um,
again, psychology come to play here.
yes, yes.
Okay. So based on personality, you choose the,
It's based on personality, yes.
yeah, as you said, you are a scholar and so you love research. So this actually makes sense. That's what research and a scholar do. You piece it together to
Collect the
create.
information, synthesize it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all I'm doing.
Wow, interesting. Very interesting.
All right,
So,
so this is my brand new one that's just debuted in Montgomery. Like nobody had ever seen it, including me, except for in the backyard. So it's very exciting to like see it in this gorgeous space. This is about Rachel.
uh-huh.
Her topic is what's called the sandwich generation. The sandwich generation is people who have very young children at home and are caring for one or more elders in their family. She had, at the time we collected her data, a 7-month-old and was caring for three different elders in her family and had a full-time job. So I have no idea she does it. She has a great partner, and that's what a lot of this comes down to, is what does your partnership look like? So she's able to do all the things she can because she has a good partner. People who have maybe a less good partner, all that work falls on them, and you get a different kind of profile. So this one stacks up. You notice how it's smaller on the bottom and bigger on the top. I wanted it to feel a little unwieldy because her life felt a little unwieldy with all that work. You see how there's two bars and they're stitched together. So it's stitched together with each stitch is a half hour of her labor. I did
Mm.
hers in half hours because there were so many hours where she was doing both paid and unpaid labor at the same time. So like I had to parse it a little finer, just to give an accurate representation of the bonkers life she's living.
Mm.
So there's the two pieces. It's stitched together with her work, the ties and tethers. And you can't really see it, but you can maybe see it in the portrait. There's in that sandwich of the sandwich generation, there's nothing in the middle. So it's kind of like there's no time left for her,
Yeah.
what I was going
I
for
see
with
that. You said
this.
perhaps this is the area where her time, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
each of the empty ones are half a half hour where she was not working. But like look at that top one in the portrait, it's like that's a full
Very, yeah. And it was just, oh, what,
she
10
got a
minutes
half
or
hour
5
off.
minutes?
Just
Yeah.
splash a
Oh,
little water on her face and get back to work.
yeah. Goodness.
Yeah,
Very,
so hectic. And not, I mean, if you look at the whole piece, not every day was like that, but those days were there.
yeah. This day, look at the first,
Yeah,
the
no, it's
top
like
page.
she didn't sit down for an entire
Yeah.
day.
This is even worse than me.
I know. I know. But like I said, it's like to be fair, not every day was like that.
Yeah, I mean, at least in academia, I mean, my job, I have summer, which I have more time. I have my winter break.
Yeah.
For that, I sit and do my publication, but it's still,
Sure.
I have time,
Hmm.
to, I don't know, do some other stuff,
Yeah.
create
And
art if I can have time.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
one amazing, awesome thing about this particular portrait. So you see that I put her inside the sort of cage of her labor, but
Yes.
she's just like this like quiet, peaceful. This is who she is. She's like everything is spinning around her. Everything is chaos around her, but she is a very peaceful, centered person.
Yeah.
And if you'll see the photo credit is Sawyer Rose and Brady Rose. This
Mhm.
portrait was taken by my 18-year-old aspiring photographer, and this is the first time we've ever worked together. So it's not a straight up portrait. It's a photo collage of like 20 layers of me putting
Yeah.
stuff together. But the base photograph was taken by my son who joined me at the photo shoot, and it's the first time we ever worked together, which was exciting.
Wow, very interesting. I like the idea that, she being enclosed
Yeah.
within the cocoon of her work somehow.
Or
Wow,
the
wow.
jail, depending how you look at it. Yeah, so this
Oh,
gives you you can see that I use silver and gold leaf as paid labor and unpaid labor in a lot of the pieces actually.
oh, okay. So this is which one is paid? The gold one is paid,
Gold is
silver one
paid,
is.
silver is unpaid. Yep.
Wow. Okay. Very interesting. And that's the one you were mentioning about the women in the museum, right? Early time you were talking. This one. Sorry.
This one. Anne. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, so Anne, this is an interesting one. This is different than every other piece I've done. This is a deep dive into COVID parenting. So this was done in the data was taken during COVID. As you'll notice, there's no gold. There's only just silver,
Hmm.
because she had no paid labor at the time. She was just ready to go back in the workforce. Her youngest was just ready to go to preschool. Pandemic, obviously, that didn't work out. So she was stuck at home in a city apartment with two little kids. Her husband was working, so that was good, but that meant that, all the unpaid labor was on her. So what I did differently in this one is the larger spheres. I don't know, maybe you can, I think I have a detail of it in the next. I might not. Eh, there you see the spheres. So
Yeah.
some of the spheres are larger and some of the spheres are smaller. A large sphere is a full hour of unpaid labor. A slightly smaller sphere is a half hour of unpaid labor. And the spaces of which there are ridiculously few in this one are the hours where she wasn't working. So basically, as far as the eye can see, it's just unpaid labor, unpaid labor.
Yeah. So why you choose this triangle for?
Um, the triangle was an aesthetic choice. The choice that I made for Anne is the what the spheres look like.
Okay.
Um, so Anne is of Korean heritage, and like the if you picture like the I Ching or their like flag, there are like 0, 1, 2, and 3. And that can
Hmm.
mean a lot of different things. And one of the things that it can mean is like in a family, like mother, father, son, daughter, and that's their family.
Okay.
So the spheres have these like turquoise wraps. This is her favorite color. They have these wraps. And so each one has either 0, 1, 2, or 3 wraps on it to represent the different members of her family.
Okay. So those are okay. So that was my question before to ask to say. So those are family member of her
Yeah.
that are connected. Wow. And so why some of them? No, none of them has two. For some
Yeah, none
reason.
of them have two. It's either a
Yeah.
full hour, a half hour, and the
Okay.
very few spaces.
Wow. Wow. Very interesting.
Okay,
And
so yeah, this is an interesting one because it's the only one I've done of two people, Anna and Hillary. Um, and the question here was how to take two people's labor and intertwine them, because their labor is intertwined in their lives. How do I represent that? So this is where material choice really comes into it. Like you were asking me before, like how do you decide? So, Hillary in the pink is a like super high powered like tech person who used to work for like the Obama administration, like super high powered. So she's the metal and the gray
mhm.
pods. So the metal is her paid labor and it's kind of outward facing. if you will,
Yeah.
because she's out there in the public being very public. And the gray pods are her unpaid labor. And then all of the green pods are Anna's.
Mm. Oh, she has much more.
Yeah, she has much, much more. So she was at home with the two kids.
Mm.
There's one kid in this because he ran into the picture and it was so amazing that it just
That's cute,
became,
actually. It's very
yeah, it's
interesting.
amazing. But like, yeah, their older was playing with my kid, but like the younger one just ran in the picture and I was like, sure, fine, let's do it.
Yeah, that's
Turned out to be one of my favorite portraits.
yeah. Well, and then how you connect this, both of them connected in the center, which is represents this,
Like,
the work, yeah, been, yeah,
yeah. So if you see the on the rope that connects it hanging down, it's measured, right? And there's like yellow kind of marks on the rope. It's a little hard to see in the picture, but I don't have a detail of it.
yeah, okay.
So I started plotting the data down the rope, like exactly how they reported it to me, as in the other ones. And then the liberty that I took with this one was based on the interview that we had, and they said, it's like you start out your day like firing on all cylinders, right? And by the end of the day, it's like everything's just kind of gone to heck, and you're like, just please brush your teeth and get in bed, and it's chaos. So as an artist, I kind of, took a liberty and said like, okay, here's how it really plots out, but like truthfully, at the end of the day, everything's chaos and everything's
Yeah.
everywhere.
So this
Um,
the bottom one is ever, like end of the day
just
that everything, yeah,
every
okay.
end of the day, everything. So it is accurate to the data, it's the correct numbers, but I quit plotting it because I felt like it was more truthful to their experience.
Yeah, well, very interesting to see, like, again, this psychology and sociology and
Yeah.
all those things that you connected.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm a data collector and a scientist of sorts, but
Yes.
in the end, I'm an artist and I'm going to do what I want.
Yeah. You create this visual language, and that's actually awesome
Right.
to
And it's
see.
more about communicating than it is plotting
Yeah.
data.
Yeah.
All right, this is Darlene, and this is so when we talk about unpaid labor, we're usually thinking about our cooking, cleaning, childcare, elder care, right? And then,
Mhm.
like I said, you've got your emotional labor and but volunteerism is another form of unpaid labor that falls a lot more on women, and people don't usually think about it as unpaid labor. So, if you think about you've got in your community, in your school, in your house of worship, statistically falls much heavier on women because women are willing to, nobody else will do it, and you go, all right, fine, put it on my back, I'll do it. So Darlene, at the time I took her data, was working six different jobs, and like three of them were volunteer, and she's a super amazing art teacher. So she was teaching in the Oakland schools and had like 400 something students, but ended up like spending a lot of time outside of class making sure, is this kid okay? This kid I think needs something. Services that were not going to be provided by the school, but like the need was seen by her, so she was going to take care of it. And then she was volunteering in community organizations. So she was spending her entire life working on these various things that meant a lot to her, and felt very important to her. But um, in terms of volunteerism, she was like 10 out of 10.
Mhm.
Um,
Which one represent here the volunteer and which one the paid work?
right.
Or-
So in this piece, again, it's gold and silver. Gold is paid work, silver is unpaid work. And if you can see the sacks that are gold leaf,
Uh-huh.
they have a stone in them. So it's like she's collected that money. And it's a little hard to see in the picture, but the silver sacks are like ripped out at the bottom and the stone is down on the floor, so she like hasn't collected that money.
Okay. Oh, okay. So they just unpaid work, but there is no money in it because
But there is
volunteer.
no money in. There's the
Yeah.
money, yeah, is not
Okay. So
collected.
in this zoom in, the one gold that's the pay one, and
That's the
the
paid one, and then like they're just kind of like raggedy on the end
okay,
and
and then so the one that's stone on the floor, that means these are the one that she didn't collect them.
yeah, and so it's like they're positioned right under the bag
Yeah.
where it was not collected. Yeah. So
Wow, 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 wow. I guess very too much to. discuss in one short video. I mean, it's like you put so much effort in it. It's like
I do.
years of work. Yeah.
All about the effort. So this one
Yeah.
is a Mira. And this is by far my most like organic one. It's not gridded, it's just kind of loose. It has a template. So it's not just like willy-nilly, but it's about women's entrepreneurship. She was like the queen of hustle when I took this data. She was telling me, it's like I'm doing my paid work, but then I'm going out to the bar and I'm seeing my friends, but also I'm meeting somebody because we're going to talk about a business opportunity. And so instead of like carefully gritting it out, like some of the people have very, regimented lives, her life was all about flow and everything was happening at the same time. So the black solid pods are an hour of paid labor, the wireframes less visible, accorded less status in society. Are the unpaid labor. And there's like spaces, but there's kind of not. Again, I'm an artist, I'm going to do what I want. And that's what felt authentic to her experience was everything was happening all at the same time.
Yeah. So what it made for these are leather, right?
Yeah, so well, they're like faux leather, and then they have this band of turquoise. That's her favorite color. Um, and it's like, like I get my inspiration from who knows where. Like I look at their work, I look at their social media. Like if I know them, I'll go to their house. This was based on a pair of earrings that
Oh,
she
okay.
was wearing. She's a
That's the
super
shape of it, you means came
Yeah, the
from.
shape of it. And I was like, oh, I could, and then I adapted it and abstracted it and whatever. But like, she's a
Yeah.
super fashionable person and just always shows up looking amazing. And that was very much part of her personality. So I was like, okay, well, let's make it
Yeah, for
fashionable. Let's make it
fashion. Yeah.
chic. It should be chic, this piece.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then I see like, some of them moved in different direction. They are not like, overall, like some of your work, I see they have more geometric form or direction, but these are doesn't have direction, as you said, because of experience and the
Yeah.
type of job she does. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, it usually kind of makes sort of a wave shape of some sort. It depends on the wall space that, the institution has afforded it. If you give me 20 feet of wall, it's going to be like a long, lovely one.
okay.
And if I have 10
So the
feet.
way you install them can be changed based on the location.
So, yeah, what I do with a templated piece like that or this one is you tell me what size wall it's going on, and I'll template it out beforehand before I show up to the install.
Okay.
So this is America. She's oh God, she's so interesting. She is a stunt woman, a director. She runs a nonprofit to support women and non-binary directors entering, emerging into the profession. She is a voiceover artist. She's been like the voiceover for Barbie. She's amazing. I met her at a conference. I heard her speak about her stunt woman work, and I was like, hey.
Yeah.
If you'll be in my project, I promise I'll make your pieces really pointy. So these are her swords, her throwing stars, her whatever. She thought that was hilarious and was like, yeah, absolutely. But you can see here between the two, this is templated out for they gave me like 30 feet of wall and around a corner. So I did a template in the same, it's always in the same order. It's just how spread out it is. So I did this, but in the other one, it's like, if you give me 10 feet of wall, it's going to be more of like a grid.
Yeah.
In the same order. Again, gold pieces, paid labor, silver pieces, unpaid labor, spaces.
And
Have
then what's the red? They had some red
Yeah,
in.
they have some red and they have some other colors on them, but they'll either have gold or silver on them.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
And this is a fun part. So like it's one thing to like tell the stories and have people experience these things visually, but I wanted them to experience them like personally, viscerally, like physically. So I have these interactives that I do, and this is a really fun one. It's called The Weight of Your World. And I set up a kiosk with the Timekeeper app. And people can just, like at an event or a reception or wherever I'm doing the event, they can just kind of ballpark their hours. I ask them questions so they understand what data to put in, and it's all just kind of ballpark and fun.
Yeah.
And then whatever they say they report 40 hours of paid labor and 20 hours of unpaid labor, I give them that same amount of stones in pounds. So you can see there's gold and like the black and white is gold and silver stones. So I'll give you 40 pounds of stones and 20 pounds of stones and then say, pose with it, make an on the fly sculpture. And I take their portrait just like I take the portraits of the women in the project.
Yeah.
And then if
Wow.
they'll leave their email, I'll send it to them even so they can have it. But
Mm,
people are fantastic. And I mean, it's a lot of fun. And, it's even better if you're having beers at the event and everybody's having a laugh. But what I see over and over again is especially like partners coming and doing it and going, I had no idea. I had no, wow. And even people themselves going, I had no idea how much I'm working. I had never
Yeah.
really thought about it until now. So it's a laugh and it's a lot of fun, but it's
Yeah.
also, starts a conversation in a
Yeah.
gentle way.
You put everything into a perspective, for people to see they're working different. I wish we had more time to talk. I mean, our 30 minutes don't finish.
Yeah, I know.
I know you have so much more to discuss.
I think
And
this might be the last one, but
yeah, so this is also another interactive one that people can directly interact with. Yeah.
Yeah, this it asks you to ballpark your data and then you put the number of stones in one of these spheres and drop it in. So it's like a more I don't have to be there. It's not an event. It's just more passive co-creating. Um, but people really it gives them a chance to think and it gives them a chance to talk to whoever they came with about where everybody sits in the labor landscape.
Yeah. Wow. Very actually genius and a lot of thought you put around it. That's actually shows how good you are in your research. So as you said, you are obsessed with researching and being a scholar, to put all these things and to create and visualize them. But not only visualize them, as you said, to make people think about themselves. Like when I saw that piece, I said, wow, this is me.
Right.
And it's not about one person. It's about this is so many different group of people in our society. And is this something still ongoing project? Still you working on all this different group?
Yeah. So
Oh,
next up is single parents, another one that
oh,
I've had a ton of requests for. It was just a question of finding the right person, and I have. So I have her data. I'm ready to go. But yeah, I mean, there are unfortunately an endless number of topics where women are doing a disproportionate amount of labor. So I will keep addressing them until I run out,
yeah.
which will be
You are not gonna
unfortunately
run out.
never.
You can go from beginning again.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was really awesome to see your work. I mean, your website also awesome because it's quite easy to see everything and all your project. And there are much more. I mean, we just talk about you as your work, and there are the rest in your website. And really encourage everybody to check and interact, and maybe even to reach out to you to you do their study.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always open to hearing people's stories. Like there's as many stories as there are people.
Yeah.
And they're all fascinating.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. I really myself enjoyed, and I'm sure everybody else also enjoyed what you do and what you're doing. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.